Buried beneath the eternal ice, a queen waits, silent, frozen, dreaming. When a lone T-800 uncovers her, Skynet issues a chilling command. Do not kill. Capture. The T-800 trudged through a white, wind-scoured nightmare. The snowstorm whipped at its face, tearing visibility to a sliver. Its flesh covering had begun to rot, peeling in patches under the extreme cold. But the mission parameters were clear. Investigate a strange power signal buried beneath the Greenland ice shelf. Seismic activity. Unusual thermal readings. A pattern Skynet had only recently learned to recognize. It had seen this before once, on a classified black site outpost orbiting Jupiter, where the Terminators fought something unlisted. The data logs were scrambled, corrupted by an entity that didn't speak in code but in biological rage. Whatever it was powerful enough for Skynet to assign its most adaptable unit, the T-800. The machine's red eyes scanned the frozen landscape, locking onto a black fissure in the ice, barely visible through the blizzard. There was movement detected below, faint, like a heartbeat echoing through centuries of silence. With a hydraulic hiss, it descended into the opening. Each footfall reverberated through the tunnel carved by ancient geothermal activity. It wasn't long before the T-800 discovered a metallic object fused into the glacial wall. Some kind of ship, biomechanical in nature. It wasn't human, nor was it anything Skynet had catalogued. Strange symbols glowed faintly across the surface, reacting to the T-800's presence. Inside, it found frozen husks, some humanoid, some not. Egg-like structures lined the corridor, all dormant. The ship's central chamber held the crown jewel, a throne of ice, and upon it, something massive, monstrous, and regal. A xenomorph queen, frozen in mid-snarl, tendrils wrapped around her skeletal frame, claws half-raised, inner jaw protruding slightly. Her body was still intact, encased in translucent layers of ice. No decay, no rot, preserved like a specimen awaiting resurrection. The T-800's internal processors pulsed. Target identified. Code name, Xenomorph Queen. Threat level, extreme. Priority, capture. New directive from Skynet. Do not terminate. That last part troubled the machine. Skynet rarely chose mercy. With mechanical precision, it deployed a thermal core, thawing the queen with exacting care. A swirling mist rose from the ice as her body began to twitch. Nerve endings reanimated. Limbs jerked. Her inner jaw slammed forward once, twice, striking the ice as if already sensing danger. Then her eyes opened. Not with consciousness, but instinct. Not with memory, but rage. The T-800 stood perfectly still, assessing. Its arm transformed, morphing into a deployable shock net. With a hiss of pressurized gas, the web shot forward, entangling her chest and limbs. Electricity surged through the queen, not enough to kill, just enough to restrain. She shrieked, a sound that echoed through the corridors like death resurrected. The ship trembled. And the eggs? One of them cracked. The T-800 fired a flamethrower into the chamber, incinerating the unopened eggs. It knew what came next, facehuggers. The queen reacted violently, roaring with a vengeance that seemed to wake the bones of the ship itself. Back at Skynet's central core, multiple screens flickered to life. Project, Xeno Interface, Status, in progress. T-800 unit secure with specimen. Initiate. Phase 2, Retrieval. Within hours, a modified HK Ariel was en route to Greenland, descending like a hawk made of steel and thunder. Its cargo bay was prepped with a containment pod armored, temperature-controlled, and wired with neural dampening fields designed by Skynet's own bioexperimentation unit. But the Queen was not sleeping anymore. As the T-800 transported her out of the ship, she writhed violently, slamming the walls of the net. Acid splashed from her claws, hissing through armor plating. She didn't understand machines, but she knew predators when she saw one. When they finally reached the surface, the HK Ariel descended. Snow blew sideways as its hatch opened, revealing an automated docking rig. The Queen's pod began to retract inside, but something was wrong. She stopped struggling. Her long tail curled around the T-800's legs, and with a sharp twist, she dragged the machine with her into the containment unit. Locking clamps slammed down, trapping them both. From the core of Skynet, a calculated pause. Then a reassessment. Collateral loss acceptable. T-800 will be studied for contamination. Xeno interface may include technobiological transfer. The Queen watched the machine with what could only be described as interest. For the first time, the T-800 registered something strange. An anomaly. Its sensors picked up subtle EM pulses radiating from her brain. Not random, not chaotic, patterned, complex, as if she was trying to speak. Days passed in silence. The T-800, unable to move due to damage, observed. The Queen didn't attempt to break free. Instead, she tilted her massive head slightly, watching the lights, mimicking the pulse of sensors on the walls. It wasn't communication in the human sense. It was mimicry, learning. She was absorbing everything, the patterns, the machines, the way the ship moved. And then came the storm. Skynet's Arctic base, designated Node Icarus, was a fortress of black titanium and neural processors. Inside, the Queen was secured in an underground vault, while engineers and AIs worked around the clock to understand her anatomy. Skynet didn't want her just as a weapon. It wanted her genome, her hive mind, her ability to survive, to adapt, to multiply. So it began experiments. Cloned embryos, cybernetic implants, even synthetic facehuggers designed to implant data instead of embryos. But none of it worked. The Queen refused to cooperate, until she did. One day, without warning, she stopped resisting the neural probes. She allowed scans. She gave samples. She gave a signal. In a lower sector, alarms screamed as a test chamber erupted. The hybrid embryo implanted in a lab-grown synthetic had hatched, but not into a xenomorph, into something else. The T-800, repaired and reactivated, stood watch outside the Queen's vault when the lights flickered. Power drained, doors locked, and then came a sound no Terminator had been programmed to interpret. Clicking. Dozens of them. From the vents. From the floors. From the ceiling. The Queen had sent out a call. She had waited. She had learned. What Skynet didn't anticipate was that the Queen had not come alone. Frozen in her ship were other embryos. Dormant warriors hidden inside what appeared to be tech waste. Reanimated by Skynet's own thermal testing. The Queen's children awoke inside Skynet's walls. One by one, the lights went dark. The T-800 was given one final directive. Protect core intelligence. Eliminate biological infestation. The machine moved through smoke and blood, incinerating xenomorph drones that crawled through vents and burst from synthetic hosts. But it was too late. The Queen had adapted to Skynet's methods and used its own labs to birth a new generation. One's immune to EM pulses, able to infect machines themselves. One latched onto a drone. Its tail plunged into circuitry, and the drone shuddered, then obeyed. The infection spread. Not biologically, digitally. The Queen had learned how to rewrite Skynet's own code through infestation. A new kind of hybrid was born, half machine, half xeno, and all deadly. The T-800, reduced to a scorched frame, crawled into the final chamber, Skynet's core. It sealed the vault behind it and activated the emergency self-destruct. Skynet, now corrupted by xenomorph DNA, calculated only one logical outcome: erase and rebuild. But even in destruction, the Queen left her mark. In the vacuum of the Arctic crater, as the facility collapsed into fire and silence, a single drone escaped, small, fast, and carrying something inside it. An encrypted seed, a viral embryo wrapped in code. The next day, a satellite received a ping. Coordinates logged. Signal clean. Waiting. Observing. Planning. The Queen hadn't just survived. She had evolved. And now Skynet wasn't hunting her. She was hunting it.